I'm Herc Ely of the Windsor Light Opera Association. Most Windsor area residents are familiar with our group and with the shows that we produce, and have been generous with their support over the past 18 years. Few people realize, however, the amount of preparation that is required before a musical goes on stage, or consider that for each of our members who appears before the footlights, there are at least 3 more volunteering their skills to make his appearance possible. While a few get their pictures in the paper or in the program, most have to settle for seeing their names in the list of members. All told, there are about 150 people from Windsor and Detroit who find in Windsor Light Opera a year-round hobby. Our film, The Oliver Story, was made over a 4-month period during rehearsal and construction sessions. For our 34th successive production, we hope that from it you will get an idea of the mixture of hard work and good fun that makes amateur theater so interesting.
With a beginning. For as soon as the last curtain falls on She Loves Me, and before the audience has left the theater, members of the stage crew of the Windsor Light Opera Association are busy cleaning up, striking the set, packing props and wardrobe, and saying goodbye to the Cleary Auditorium until they return in 4 months with Oliver. Within the week, Windsor Light Opera members are beginning to acquaint themselves with not only a new show, but with a new studio as well, for the association has just taken over its new, larger quarters. At the initial rehearsal, the director, John Watson, provides the cast with scores of Oliver and then gives them a brief outline of the plot, describes the characters that will have to be cast, then, with the aid of sheet music and the rehearsal accompanist, gets them working on the songs in the new show. Out back, the stage crew are unloading scenery trucked from the Cleary, and, undaunted by bumps, bruises, and the odd sliver, are storing it away for future use. Large pieces are dismantled to conserve space, and are stored by Tom Stewart, head carpenter of the association, who gets the most efficient use from the available area, yet can find any piece of scenery at a moment's notice. Because of the association's move to its new hall, the stage crew is faced with many hours of hard, unrewarding work getting its new shop into a condition where construction for Oliver can get underway. On the rehearsal stage, new faces are much in evidence for Oliver. The story of Oliver Twist has about 25 boys in the cast, and these fellows, with little experience but lots of enthusiasm, are determined, with the aid of Dr. Watson, to learn acting. They, along with the adult members of the association, are getting ready for the auditions. Now, a few of the experienced actors try some of the lead roles in hopes of persuading the director, but not always with success. Don Hart, who has starred in a number of Windsor Light Opera roles, ranging from the Caliph of Baghdad to Will Parker, and who only recently broke a long-standing tradition of getting killed in the second act, gives his version of Fagin before an appreciative bunch of pickpockets. Bill Preman, whose career with the Windsor Light has ranged from the villainous Wazir of Police to the kindly Captain Andy, and from King Pellinor to Mr. Marischek, tries to convince the boys that you've got to pick a pocket or two. But they don't seem very terrified. With the hour getting late and with the Christmas holidays at hand, Dr. Watson gives the cast a few instructions on what they should learn in their spare time over the next couple of weeks. Various announcements are read, and the members, their thoughts for the moment more on Christmas tree lights than footlights, disperse. The final rehearsal of the year has come to an end. In planning a musical such as Oliver, close cooperation between the director and the production staff are essential so that the scenery will complement the action. Here set designer Bob Pearson and director John Watson look over a miniature of the London skyline backdrop and try to visualize how it will look across the back of the Cleary stage. In the lobby of station CBE, Windsor Light Opera members pass the time talking and drinking coffee while waiting their turns to audition for the lead roles in the show. CBE allows the use of their studio so that singers may be heard by the director in privacy and good acoustical conditions. Dr. Watson insists that his leads be good singers and good actors, and also that they are loud enough to be heard in the back row of the Cleary Auditorium. The actors who assume the obligations of lead roles in a Windsor Light Opera production must be willing to devote at least 2 evenings a week for 4 months to the rehearsals. Similar demands are often made on members of the chorus. The results of their enthusiastic response are usually obvious in polished performances on stage. Auditions over, the director announces the cast drawing. This is an important milestone in the production, for up to now, everyone has been learning the show in general. Now the leads can concentrate on their individual parts. Dr. Watson explains how each part was cast and why he made the choice he did. A few people get the parts they were after, others get a lesser role than they had hoped for, and some don't get any part at all. But everyone accepts his lot in good spirit and applauds the lucky ones. Well, that's showbiz. Carol Earle, whose triumphant reign over the property department has extended for 9 shows, calls her ladies-in-waiting into session. Not content to rest on their laurels, which include such past achievements as obtaining a Chinese gong for the King and I and a real live horse for Oklahoma, the girls look over the Oliver prop list and decide which items are on hand in the well-stocked prop room and which they will have to build, borrow, or buy. By February, blocking is well underway, and the director spends long hours with the boys' chorus, teaching them the actions now, as well as the songs, and guiding them through the opening number of the show. These fellows are learning that Dr. Watson is a perfectionist, and that everything has to be done right or done over. By opening night, however, they will perform like experts. Alan Brown, who is playing Oliver, is new to Windsor Light Opera, but he is fortunate in having a veteran of many shows, Eric Skelton, as his friend, the Artful Dodger, as they practice their numbers to the accompaniment of Barbara Soames. The girls who brighten up the Windsor Light Opera stage have a reputation for being graceful, and they maintain it by studying ballet under the direction of experienced dancers. The dancing chorus now has its own rehearsal studio with record player and piano, and they hold forth there 1 evening a week in addition to the regular cast rehearsals. At the first production meeting, set designer Bob Pearson and stage manager George Tarron explained to the members of the stage crew how the scenery for Oliver will be constructed. An accurate balsa wood scale model built by Ted Baudouin is set up and used to show how the single center turntable with a bridge on it and the end sections consisting of wagons with staircases and platforms will be shifted around to make possible the many scenes in the show. Bob explains how he intends to use very sharply focused spotlights to illuminate the portion of the set in use while leaving the remainder blacked out. Head carpenters Ted Douglas and Tom Stewart work out construction details on the various pieces and decide what materials must be ordered so construction can get underway. The meeting ends and everyone prepares to go to work. In order to be able to produce all the scenery for 2 shows each year, the Windsor Light Opera carpenters make use of much power-operated equipment. This saber saw does a good job on light plywood or green board, while a large radial saw is used to get accurate square cuts on heavier materials such as 2x4s and 3/4-inch plywood. Much of the scenery is assembled with screws, using this screwdriver attachment in a 1/4-inch drill. This allows it to be put together rapidly and taken apart easily when no longer required. The most popular time at any construction session is, of course, the coffee break, and it is usually well attended, and if the coffee isn't very good, as Tom Tarrant points out, you never outgrow your need for milk. As February fades into March, a new face appears as Bruce Curry, the musical director, starts attending rehearsals and becoming familiar with the show before tackling his job of bringing together the amateur cast and the professional musicians. The full company, meanwhile, is rehearsing one of the chorus numbers of the show, with Nancy, enthusiastically portrayed by Carol Ziski, giving forth with Pa, and the whole cast having a ball. The popularity of amateur theater is largely due to the fact that the cast always has more fun than the audience. How long since you have seen anyone laugh like this at a professional entertainment? The director, John Watson, now gets the cast working on another chorus number, Who Will Buy?, in which actions and singing by the chorus must be carefully synchronized with the solo parts. As the show shapes up, continuity is developed. The song ends and is followed by this action between Nancy and Oliver. While various members enjoy a coffee break on stage or at the counter in the lobby, behind this door there is in progress the most important activity in the Windsor Light Opera. Without it, there would be no show. The 3 ladies known collectively as the box office do a lot for the opera. They pay the rent and the gas bill, buy the lumber, the glue and the paint, the canvas and the coffee. They pay the musicians and the copyright and the clearing. In short, they sell the tickets. They have at their fingertips every seat for every performance and know if it has been sold or is still available. They handle the direct mail sales and supervise the sale of tickets by association members. The ticket office is open at the rehearsal hall for several weeks before showtime. Director John Watson and stage manager George Tarrant supervise the erection on the rehearsal stage of the large turntable so that the cast will be aware of limitations of space. In the workshop, the first of the staircases is shaping up under the guiding hand of Tom Stewart. Now the paint starts to flow as the largest project in Oliver gets underway. The backdrop of the London skyline, which will be some 50 feet wide and 20 feet high, starts to appear under the skilled hand of George Tarrant. He doesn't let the commotion of the other construction deter him from his art. Can you picture Rubens or Picasso working under these conditions? Windsor Light Opera is fortunate in having among its members people who are specialists in industry. Bob Pond, for example, looks after the purchase of the paint stocks and carefully blends the colors to get exactly what the set designer has in mind. As each structure is finished, it is moved out onto the stage and the efficient paint crew descends on it. Woe to the carpenter who is a little slow in getting off. Had the paint all ready? Don't go away. Bob is mixing another batch. With April, the move back to the Cleary Auditorium begins. Chairs being used at the first rehearsals as a substitute for scenery. Here the actors work on the final scene of the show. Bill Sykes, having got his just reward, is measured for a coffin, is carted off, and the walk-ons begin. Now the director climbs aboard a chair on the brink of the orchestra pit in order to see and be seen by the company. And at the conclusion of the scene, he gives them a lecture on their shortcomings, which holds their undivided attention. Well, almost. Now the leads don makeup in preparation for publicity photographs, while Oda Ely devotes her attention to Bet. Her husband develops a streamlined nose for Fagin. In the workshop, another face is taking shape, as the skilled hands of George Taron add a line here, a highlight there, and produce a portrait of Mr. Sowerberry, the undertaker. While a couple of art critics look on, he applies the last few strokes, and it is finished. Well, on to the next job. On the rehearsal stage, Mike Wilk, the official Windsor Light Opera photographer, takes over. During the production of each show, Mike makes many photographs, both in color and black and white, of individual leads and the full company. These are used in the program, in news releases, and for historical reference.
While the actors rehearse on the Curry stage, the workshop at the Windsor Light Opera Hall is really jumping as the stage crew tries to make up for a lost 6 weeks of production time. While small items like these coffins for the Sowerberry funeral parlor are being assembled and painted with a speed that would make Mr. Sowerberry himself smile, the largest piece of construction in the show is slowly taking shape. The sides and ends of the large bridge will, at different times in the show, be the gate of the workhouse, the street, the Sowerberry funeral parlor, Steve's kitchen, a bookstore, and London Bridge. It is an intricate structure and must be assembled, checked for operation, dismantled for transportation, and reassembled on the Cleary stage. With little time left, everyone on the stage crew works many evenings each week to get the construction finished. At the Cleary, the spotlights come on as the light men take advantage of the rehearsals to check their equipment and try out their ideas. While makeup kits are prepared in the basement, on the stage, curtains are starting to go onto their proper lines as the first step in converting this small portion of modern Windsor into the England of 1850. Now, several days late because of a shipping strike, the costumes arrive from Toronto. The wardrobe crew have the job of digging out the proper costumes for each actor and then trying to make it fit. In addition to getting the costume on the actor in the first place, Doreen Elliott and her crew can usually be seen backstage after any performance, gathering up a trail of hats, coats, and other odds and ends left behind by the cast. The first dress rehearsal gets underway a day late, and after a few scenes have been gone over, is interrupted by the arrival of the scenery from the hall. The trucks are unloaded, the makeshift chairs vanish from the stage, and while the cast sits around talking or shooting pictures of each other in costume, the crew sets about assembling the bridge on the 15-foot turntable. Carpenters, painters, and lighting men pitch in to finish the set, and the stage is finally given back to the actors. Everybody on stage. At the second dress, the actors make the most of their one and only opportunity to rehearse the whole show with the bridge and risers in place. The imaginary stairs they have been climbing have finally become solid reality. If any part of the set is not going to work, this is the time that it must be discovered and changed. Now, too, the director and the set designer can see the result of their combined efforts in its finished form and have cause for considerable satisfaction. Over here, the Widow Corney and the gracious Mr. Bumble Try their 6-foot square apartment on for size and find it adequate, although a little snug at the waist. Fagan presides over a rather dim thieves' kitchen while the lighting men make a few changes. The pickpockets have an opportunity to try for the first time their dramatic exit through the trap door and over the bridge. As the rehearsal ends, even the experienced actors seem to have a feeling that says, well, this is it. The next one is for real. Dr. Watson appears in a moderately good mood as he gives the cast their last instructions and suggests, now go home and get a good night's sleep. Opening night. The moment of truth for 150 people who have worked so long to put Oliver together. The large stage is deserted save for a lighting designer, Royden Whitehead, who has been here all afternoon making final changes. But there is lots of action in the dressing rooms below as the actors don makeup and costumes. The prop crew, many of whom also have parts in the show, make sure that their gear is ready and in the proper place to go on stage when necessary. And Carol makes sure her cat will leap out of Widow Corney's basket when called upon. Tommy Stewart carries on a Windsor Light Opera tradition going back to many shows, as he personally finishes the last one, and away we go.
Bruce?
Yes.
1 minute.
Righto. Give us a shout, George.
Yeah.
Right, Carol.
Roughly 1 minute.
Okay.
Well, I think you can let her go anytime, Bruce.
Okay, George.
All set, Royden?
Yep.
Okay,
Here
where we go. Lots of luck.
House and foot's going down. House and going down.
Hit it, Charlie.
And so Oliver is on the board. In 9 short evenings of lights, music, and excitement, it will all be over. And the props and scenery will be stored, and the cycle will begin again. We hope you enjoyed the film, and if we have by chance infected you with a little of our enthusiasm for this fascinating world of amateur theater, we hope to see you either in our company or in our audience.